At this point, I'm still kind of focused on the sibling side of it. The next generation above, which would be Mary McLean and some of the others, is something that still early days in terms of my research. Yeah, one of the roadblocks we've come into at this point is no one can find record of the wedding of John Cowan and Mary McLean. John Cowan of Oban, Scotland, Mary McLean of the Isle of Mull, not too far away from there. So we're kind of stumped in terms of some of the details as far as their departure. So that's something still doing some research on to see if we can track down more information on that. So hopefully as we're up here in the Owen Sound area, we can hopefully identify what kind of farming was.
So I gather they came from Scotland.
Yes.
And then by 1861, they are in Bentinck Township, which is this township here. And from what I've seen is that they were around Dornoch.
So pretty close to Dornoch.
So and then in 1871, they're in Bentinck. So 1861, 1871 in this area.
Yep.
In 1881, they've gone to Manitoulin Island.
Okay.
Land's opening up,
Yep.
whatever. And then they're there in 1891. And it looks like in 1901, they're in Owen Sound.
Owen Sound again.
And because John dies in 1903
Right.
in Owen Sound
Yep.
of bronchitis. There's a website. There's two Manitoulin websites with family information on.
Okay. There were a number of waves of immigration that happened, and they would emigrate from there when typically famines happen. Part of it, though, was there was a very deliberate effort on the part of the British Empire to populate a number of these centers and to promote people going over and developing that. And there is a land grant that was given to them that there's a document around that we're still tracking down that refers to the land that was set aside for them as part of a king's grant for that. And I think that may have been in the Bentinck area where they first settled here. There was also talk of it being in Manitoulin, so that's still to be determined. But there was some land grant that was part of the attraction or incentive or reward for taking the adventure to come to Canada. So I think they came over just upon marriage, and the kids that we have identified all, I think, were born here. Hugh, for example, which was one of the focus points of my research, was born 1867 here in Bentinck. So, and he would have been, I guess, the third or fourth of the children.
Now it's interesting, they suggest that Alexander was born in Caledonia in Haldeman prior to them coming to
That's very interesting. So once upon
Bentinck.
a time they were down there.
So one source, I forget which one it was when I was looking at it quickly, John and Mary got married about 1855.
Okay. Yeah.
Now this suggests that Annie was born in Ontario.
Okay.
But I think it's around the 1855, 54 time period they may have come to Canada.
Yeah.
But the 1851 census, they could be in Scotland. They could be single people. Where they lived in Owen Sound, one of the addresses anyways, 664 7th Street East. So here's 8th Street East.
Okay.
And then 7th Street A, and then 7th. So I'm figuring here's 7th Avenue. I think they must have lived down in this area.
Okay. Sure.
Because they are there in 1917 according to the city directory, which I have online at home. I mean, I have it on my computer at home.
Sure.
And Mary's there when she dies in 1921.
Okay.
And then this is a better map because at least, so I'm figuring, if I remember correctly, their tombstone is sort of centered right in here. This is, okay, it says her husband was a weaver. Did you ever hear that?
Did not, no.
So that's one thing. Says she was born in 1836 as Mary McLean.
Yeah.
And actually her second name is Buchanan.
Yes, I've heard that, yeah.
So I'm not too sure where that, because,
Yeah, that'd be part of her, probably family heritage.
but it's not her mother's last name
Right.
according to her death information.
Yeah.
Isle of Mull, so that is an area
Mm-hmm.
to do some following through on. Said they lived at Dornoch, Manitowoc,
Okay.
in Owen Sound. So she had 15 children.
Wow.
Okay, say it's possibly about 1860. It says first snapshot. Mrs. Cowan's husband Weaver lived up on the 8th Street East Hill while being on 7th Street. Well, that's close enough for me. When they were up in Tacoma, it mentions the children as being Baptist and the parents being Presbyterian. I understand this. Okay, Lot 35, Concession 3, west of the Garifaxa Road, is WGR. I was married to Neil Clark. Okay. Cowan went to Hilly Grove. Okay, see, they're even getting more specific.
After they left Benedict.
Yeah, so that sounds like them. So we are west, it says, if this is our right family, Lot 35, Concession 3. I'm wondering if Smithville was once Dornoch. So I think we're looking at like in this area here.
Okay, so that'll be the third concession, and then
Lot 35, if that's 35. It's interesting, even though they say he was here, they don't reference him as being a landowner. It's another reference to the Historical Society. It was held in the library under the president, James Cochran. And Secretary Treasurer is Laura E. Cowan, so she's Laura Elizabeth. And one of the directors of the museum is Miss Kate Andrews.